Detailed history of remarkable de Havilland aircraft. Successes and tragedies. Table of contents. 1. Introduction. 2. Pre-founding and Airco, 1909 to 19. 3. Stag Lane and global expansion, 1920 to 29. 4. Hatfield, World War II and start of jets, 1930 to 44. 5. Post-World War II and more jets, 1945 to 63. 6. Canadian Revival, 1964 to present. 7. Real-life footage. 1. Introduction. This video provides a detailed look at the remarkable de Havilland Aircraft Manufacturing Company, DH in the UK, 1920 to 60, and DHC in Canada, 1928 to present, its very many aircraft types, and its brilliant founder Geoffrey de Havilland, 1882 to 1965, shown in Pic. Although accurate statistics are somewhat problematic, it appears that approximate 39,000 aircraft, across approximate 70 different types, were built bearing the de Havilland name, designated DH or DHC. Many, but not all, were designed by Geoffrey de Havilland himself. While most DH and DHC designated aircraft were built in the UK, others were built in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the USA, the Soviet Union, and a handful of other countries. Given the huge range of de Havilland aircraft, this video covers only those with production numbers of 100 or more, and a few specials with less than 100. The video also only covers DH and DHC designated aircraft, and not the small number of other types designed by de Havilland but built under other company designations, such as the Hawker Siddeley HS-12 Trident jet airliner. The pic shows 1921 marketing poster. Each aircraft in this video is shown in Microsoft Flight Simulator, MSFS, where available, or else as a photo. At the end, we include some real-life footage of a range of de Havilland aircraft. Each MSFS aircraft is shown at former de Havilland airfields, DH aircraft at EGNR Horaden, UK, and DHC aircraft at CYZD Downsville, Canada. De Havilland's life, successes and honours, sorrow and tragedy. 2 of his sons died working for him, and his wife died heartbroken. Others died in aircraft with design faults. His fortune was mostly made from 2 world wars. Pic is a 1960 marketing poster. To start off with, here is an AI-generated overview of de Havilland aircraft manufacturer history which I found to be quite good as an introduction, 1 of 6. Founded in 1920 by Geoffrey de Havilland, the de Havilland Aircraft Company is one of aviation's most legendary pioneers. The manufacturer is globally celebrated for revolutionizing commercial jet travel, impressing in World War II with innovative wooden aircraft, and pioneering bush planes for rugged terrains. AI-generated historical overview, 2 of 6. Major milestones and aircraft highlights. DH-60 Moth, 1925 popularized private aviation. Its reliability and low cost made flying accessible globally, spawning a massive family of trainers and touring aircraft, including the famous Tiger Moth. DH-88 Comet, 1934 a purpose-built racing aircraft that won the grueling 1934 Mac Robertson Air Race from England to Australia, cementing de Havilland's reputation for aerodynamic efficiency and speed. DH-98 Mosquito, 1940 nicknamed the Wooden Wonder, this versatile, unarmed bomber and fighter became one of the most successful aircraft of World War II. AI-generated historical overview, 3 of 6. DH-106 Comet, 1949. Made history as the world's first commercial jet airliner. Though plagued by early issues with metal fatigue, it paved the way for the modern jet age. DH-115 Vampire, 1943. An early, revolutionary jet fighter utilized extensively by the Royal Air Force and global militaries, notable for its twin-boom fuselage design. AI-generated historical overview, 4 of 6. DHC-2 Beaver, 1947. Designed by de Havilland Canada, this is widely regarded as the best bush plane ever built. It provided a lifeline to remote and rugged frontiers worldwide. DHC-6 Twin Otter, 1965. and Dash 8, 1983. Continuing the brand's legacy today, these robust short takeoff and landing turboprops remain absolute workhorses for regional airlines globally. AI-generated historical overview, 5 of 6. Notable aviation records. 1934 Mac Robertson race win. The DH-88 Comet racer set multiple distance and speed records while crossing the globe in less than 3 days. First British sound barrier break, 1948. The first British aircraft to exceed the sound barrier, the experimental DH-108 Swallow. First commercial jet airliner, 1952. The DH-105 Comet jet entered commercial service, halving travel times and sparking a massive leap forward in global connectivity. AI-generated historical overview, 6 of 6. Corporate legacy. Despite its engineering brilliance, the company faced significant hurdles, most notably the highly publicized metal fatigue accidents of the Comet jet. In the 1960s, de Havilland was absorbed into Hawker Siddeley, which later became part of British Aerospace. Today, the heritage lives on through de Havilland Canada, which operates a major manufacturing facility at the new de Havilland field, producing aircraft like the Dash 8. 2. Pre-founding and Airco, 1909–19. Geoffrey de Havilland, 1882–1965, was an English engineer and aviation pioneer who founded the aircraft company de Havilland, DH. The company produced the Mosquito, one of the most versatile warplanes ever built, and the Comet, the first jet airliner to go into production. But there were lots of other famous de Havilland aircraft before, between, and after those two. De Havilland was born in the UK. His father was a reverend. His final education was at the Crystal Palace School of Engineering, 1900–03. He had a natural aptitude for engineering. Upon graduating from engineering training, de Havilland pursued a career in automotive engineering with several different companies over several years, going from apprentice to draftsman and then to designer. During that time, he designed his first aero engine and had a prototype made. De Havilland married in 1909 and almost immediately embarked on a career of designing, building and flying aircraft, to which he devoted the rest of his life. A loan, or inheritance, from his grandfather, allowed him to quit his automotive job and to design aircraft and aero engines. In 1909 and 10, DH biplane No. 1 first flew, and crashed, followed by the more successful DH biplane No. 2. Subsequent designs were even more successful. In 1910 and 13, there were the births of de Havilland's two sons, Geoffrey Jr. and Peter. In 1918, there was a third son, John. Geoffrey Jr. and John were later to die tragically working for their father. In 1910, de Havilland joined HM Balloon Factory at Farnborough, which became the Royal Aircraft Factory. He sold his second aeroplane, which he used to teach himself to fly, to his new employer. It became the FE-1, the first aircraft to bear an official Royal Aircraft Factory designation. For the next 3 years, de Havilland was involved in designing a number of experimental types at the factory. In 1912, he set a new British altitude record of 10,500 feet, 3,200 metres in a Royal Aircraft Factory BE-2. In 1912, de Havilland was commissioned as a second Lieutenant Reserve Officer in the Royal Flying Corps, RFC. He continued to serve in the RFC during World War I. In 1914, he was promoted to lieutenant and appointed a flying officer. He was briefly stationed in Montrose, on the east coast of Scotland. Flying a Blériot, he was to protect British shipping from German U-boats. In 1916, he was promoted to captain and appointed a flight commander. While serving in the RFC, in 1913 de Havilland was appointed Inspector of Aircraft for the Aeronautical Inspection Directorate. Unhappy at leaving design work, In 1914 he became chief designer at Airco, in Hendon, where he designed many aircraft, until his departure in 1920. Large numbers of de Havilland-designed aircraft were used by the UK in World War I. In this period, from 1915 to 1920, first flights were conducted for variants ranging from Airco DH-1 to Airco DH-16. In 1919, an Airco D-16, a commercial version of the Airco DH-99A bomber, operated by Aircraft Transport and Travel, kicked off daily international service between London and Paris. Three. Stag Lane and Global Expansion, 1920 to 29. In 1920, de Havilland's employer, Airco, was bought out, but discovering its worthlessness, it was then shut down. With capital from another, de Havilland formed a Havilland Aircraft Company, DH, employing some former colleagues, and established its first dedicated factory, flight testing runway, and global headquarters at Stag Lane Aerodrome, Edgware, North London, where he and his colleagues designed and built a large number of aircraft, including the famous Moth family. In this period, from 1920 to 1929, first flights were conducted for variants ranging from DH-34 to DH-80 Moth. In 1927, de Havilland opened a factory in Melbourne, Australia, DHA, and most operations then moved to Sydney in 1930. Also in 1927, a monoplane DH-71 Tiger Moth, not the later famous DH-82 biplane Tiger Moth, secured a world light airplane speed record, clocking 300.1 km per hour, 186.5 miles per hour. In 1928, the subsidiary company de Havilland Canada, DHC, was created to build Moth aircraft in North America. When World War II arrived, production expanded to augment British aircraft factories, without any possible threat from enemy bombers. After the war, DHC went on to design and produce a number of indigenous types, some of which proved highly successful. DHC's first factory in Canada in 1928 was at de Lesseps Field. DHC soon outgrew this, and in 1929 it began to be phased out and be replaced by a permanent Canadian manufacturing plant at Downsview Airfield. 4. Hatfield, World War II and Start of Jets, 1930 to 44. In 1933, DH in the UK moved most of its manufacturing from Stag Lane to new bigger and better facilities at Hatfield Aerodrome, Hertfordshire. In this period, from 1930 to 1944, first flights were conducted for variants ranging from DH-82 Tiger Moth to the DH-103 twin-engine fighter, and including the DH-100 Vampire first-generation jet fighter. Very large numbers of DH aircraft were used by the UK in World War II. In 1934, a DH-89 Dragon Rapide crashed into the English Channel, killing all 7 on board. That same year, a DH-88 Comet Racer, Grosvenor House, won the Mac-Robertson Centenary Air Race from England to Australia in 70 hours, 54 minutes, and 18 seconds. Also, de Havilland himself received the Gold Medal of the Royal Aeronautical Society. In 1936, Ronald E. Bishop was appointed DH Chief Designer, stepping into primary airframe leadership. In 1938, a DH-88 Comet Racer, Australian Anniversary, set 4 FAI world records during an England-New Zealand round-trip flight. In 1940, DH opened further UK manufacturing facilities in Lostock, Lancashire, and in Christchurch, Dorset, and later in 1941 in Leavesden, Hertfordshire, to make the famous DH-98 Mosquito aircraft, which achieved the record of fastest operational aircraft of World War II, over 668 km per hour, 415 miles per hour. Also in 1940, DH purchased a stake in aircraft manufacturer Airspeed Limited, owned by Neville Shute Norway, later famous author Neville Shute, and maker, among other aircraft, of the famous World War II Horsa military gliders. In 1943, youngest son John de Havilland, serving as a test pilot, was killed in a catastrophic mid-air collision involving two Mosquitoes, devastating his parents. In 1944, de Havilland bought out his friend and engine designer Frank Halford's consultancy firm, forming the de Havilland Engine Company with Halford as the head. Halford had previously designed a number of engines for DH. During World War II, de Havilland took over the small grass airfield in Witney, Oxfordshire, where they operated as a civilian repair organisation on behalf of the British government. They carried out complete overhauls to battle-damaged Spitfire and Hurricane fighters, plus any de Havilland types. Pic shows a wartime promotional poster. Thanks for watching this video part 1 of 2. Stay tuned for the next video part 2 of 2 in the next few days. Hope you are enjoying.